Oh, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here to present you my NBA morning shoot around for Tuesday, November 26th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all my NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and Draftkings cash sign update. We're truly a one-stop shop for our DFS needs. So make sure to come check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So, small two-game slate. One game should be pretty good between the Clippers and Mavericks. The other game, Washington isn't a very good team, but they have been in very high-scoring games day in and day out. So definitely going to be some good fantasy production in that game as well. Real quick before we do jump into this, if you guys don't mind, please take that quick second, click the like button down below. Helps me out. Really appreciate that from you guys. And yeah, let's go. We'll start at point guard. We'll work our way through. Definitely, there's some guys that we can look at on this slate. We'll start at the top. Luka Doncic. Triple double upside every single night. In a matchup against the Clippers, it's going to be a very, very competitive game. This is, again, they're going to need him to play very well. The guy's just been playing out of his mind right now. MVP candidate, definitely. And you got to like the floor that Doncic is really, really giving you. The price tag is crazy high. That's the only thing about it. If you're looking for a floor on a two-game slate, definitely got to consider him. Jamal Murray in a very up-tempo game going against Washington. This is a spot where he can definitely excel, and I like him in this spot as well. 7,800, like I said, the price tag is a little higher than I want to pay, but it's a small slate. Doncic and Murray are definitely the top two, point guards on this slate. Moving down, Patrick Beverley, 5,700. Patrick Beverley's a guy that does a little bit of everything. I think he gives you a decent floor, I would say. Not nothing crazy. Wouldn't play him in cash games. I honestly don't recommend playing cash games at all today in the first place. But if you are, I don't know if you really want to go with Patrick Beverley. I wouldn't blame you, though. He's probably the best mid-tier option here. Outside of him, you can look at a guy like Isaiah Thomas. It's all about minutes with Isaiah Thomas. If he's going to get, low 30s, high 20s, you can look at him at 5,800. Definitely been up and down, though. The floor is not really there. The consistency hasn't been there. So I definitely would go Patrick Beverley over Thomas. But nonetheless, I think you can still look at Thomas on this small slate. Lastly, I think that we can go look at Ish Smith as well. Him and Thomas are basically split minutes, about 25 apiece. Ish Smith, he's a guy that does a little bit of everything. I think that honestly, Ish Smith probably gives you a little bit better floor than Isaiah Thomas. But like I said, small slate. Both guys GPP plays. Definitely consider him. The only other guy I would even really look at, Monte Morris. I think possibly you could throw in there just as a cheap GPP flyer play. Sometimes he gets minutes in the mid 20s, low 20s. Sometimes he only gets 9 or 10 minutes. But this is a game that could definitely get out of hand quickly. Some of these backups off the bench for Denver could get some extra run. And Monte Morris is usually the first guy off the bench when it comes to the guard spots. So definitely think you could look at him for GPP. Moving on to shooting guard, Bradley Beal. The only reason that Washington has even been somewhat competitive is because Bradley Beal has been playing well. 9,700, definitely could consider him. Denver is a pretty good defensive team. I would like to mention that. But I like Bradley Beal, 9,700. Lou Williams, 7,200. He's the guy, yes, he comes off the bench, but he still gets his minutes. He's a guy that, they put the ball in his hands a lot, and he definitely has some upside. Going against Dallas, like I said, I think it's going to be a very competitive game. Gary Harris at 4,500, playing 30 plus minutes a game. I think this is a really good spot for him. He hasn't been playing necessarily the best. You can tell by his production. But Gary Harris is a really good player. I've been playing him year after year, and I'm still encouraged by the fact that minutes are there. And I think that he can really get it going. So I like him. I like him a lot. I think that he's a good play at 4,500. I think there's some good value down here at the shooting guard spot. Another good value guy, DeLon Wright for Dallas. Playing, 20 to 24 minutes a game. He's a guy that fills up the stat sheet. He's got you at least 20 in 4 straight games. 4,300, all you need is 21 for value. We're looking for a guy that's going to be a little bit lower owned. I think that you could definitely consider him as a GPP play down there. Lastly, one more guy that you can look at as a GPP play, Jordan McCall. Uh, the minutes have been trending up the past two games, 19, 23 minutes. He's got you 27, almost 28 and 23 fantasy points at 3,700. All you need is about 19 for value. So he's another GPP play you could throw out there. Moving on, small forward, Paul George, 9,500. He stepped in and he's just been doing the Paul George things that we know he's going to do. He does a little bit of everything, defensive stats, scoring the ball. So far, him and Leonard have been playing decently well. I think there's going to be a pretty good little two-man, attack right there throughout the season. Definitely think 9,500. You can look at him against Dallas, and again, it should be very competitive. Will Barton going against Washington, a very up-tempo game. Will Barton, man, we know what this guy gives us. The minutes have been there. The upside he gives us is there. The price tag is probably a little bit higher than I want to pay just because this game could definitely get out of hand. But if he's going to play 30 minutes, then you got to feel comfortable with the floor that he's going to give you. Couple more guys. I think we can look at Tim Hardaway for Dallas. He's a bucket, man. He comes in and he looks to score the ball. Coming off one of the best games of his season where he played 38 minutes against Houston. They got to get this guy going. He's probably their best shooting guard in my opinion. 5,400. All you need is about 23 for value. I think you could really consider him here. Dorian Finney-Smith. Coming out, his minutes have been trending up, for somewhat. In 3 of the past 5 games, he's got you at least 31 points. And he's a guy that really, he can get you a double-double any night. It's like, GPP play for me here just because the production has kind of been all over the place, but he does have some upside. And then a good value guy for Washington, we can look at Troy Brown. The minutes have been down a little bit right now, and the production have been down as well. But earlier in the year, when the guy got some minutes, he definitely showed us some massive upside. So if this game is going to get out of hand, or we just think he'll get a little bit of uptick in minutes, I think that this is a spot you can look at him at 3,700. He's pretty cheap. You don't really need too much. Moving on to power forward, Kawhi Leonard, Porzingis, I'll just kind of put them together. Both guys in play going against each other. I do like the price a little bit more on Porzingis. You save, 1,700. For sure, and the floor has been there. I think that Kawhi probably gives you a little bit more upside, I would say. I don't know because, Leonard's production has been a little bit down as well with Paul George coming back, into the lineup. But nonetheless, like I said, I like both these guys going against each other. Small slate, they're easily the top 2 power forwards. And then you can look at Paul Millsap going against Washington, 6,600. It's a very fair price tag. Millsap has started picking it up. He has a slow start to the season. Really started to pick it up, though. For value, you need about 33. He's averaging 28 on the season. And I think there's a guy in the mid-tier that gives you a solid floor. If you're looking to kind of, like I said, put him in, move on, not have to worry about that. Couple more guys I think that we can look at. I think we can look at Kleber. If Kleber does end up playing at 4,200, he's going to play 25 minutes, and the guy could get you a double-double any night. GPP play, though, just because the production has been a little bit all over the place. But I think Kleber at 4,200, like I said, he's cheap. One more guy, Jeremiah Grant. I think that, he's getting right on 20 minutes. Obviously, we want to see more minutes from him. I like all these Denver guys because I feel it could become a blowout quickly, and it's going to be a high-scoring game. So the starters could get there, and all these bench guys are going to come in and play a whole fourth quarter at bare minimum prices. We can definitely pay off and find a gem in the rough right here to try to find a low-owned guy on a 2-game slate. Lastly, I think you can look at this guy, Hachimura for Washington. I think he's playing 25 minutes a game. He has a little bit of upside. The production has come down a little bit from he had a couple of really big games earlier in the year. But I think that you can look at him 2,500. We're looking for guys that are going to come low owned. He's not a sexy name. Definitely really could consider him. Going to center, Jokic is clearly by far the best center option on this slate. It just comes down to, do you want to pay for Jokic or not? But hey, 10.8 against Washington, a very up-tempo game. I like him. I think that he does have some upside, and he's probably not going to be the guy that a lot of people want to pay up for. Harrell going against Dallas. I think this is a spot for Harrell, man. The minutes have been there, playing right around 30 minutes a game. Definitely has some upside with a couple of 60 fantasy point games already this year. 7,600, I think he gives us a solid floor. Thomas Bryant, it's a tough matchup going against Jokic, but the guy's been playing very, very well. GPP play, like I said, some of these people are not really going to be looking at him in that matchup against Jokic, but you really got to consider him, in my opinion. A couple more guys that we can look at. I think we can look at Dwight Powell, especially if Kleber ends up being out. Then I think he'll get a couple extra minutes. He hasn't been playing the best the past 5 or 6 games, but I mean, I've played Powell over a couple years, and when he gets minutes, man, the guy definitely could produce. He does have, 35 fantasy point upside at a 4.6 price tag. We would love that. So definitely Dwight Powell's in play. Zubac, GPP play, 4,200. Going against Dallas, I think that, he's a guy, he fills up the stat sheet quick. It's all about minutes with him. Straight GPP, though, just because the minutes are never there. But I do think that you can look at him. And lastly, I talked about all these Denver backups. Mason Plumlee, if the game's going to get out of hand and these backups are going to get a ton of extra run, Mason Plumlee can fill up the stat sheet quickly. We see last game against Phoenix in only 15 minutes, he got you 26 fantasy points on 4,000 price tag. I mean, that's almost 7x. So definitely has some upside. And if he's going to get a little bit of bump in minutes, then you got to like that. So that's really where I'm at with this video. If you want a more in-depth analysis on today's slate, make sure to check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. And then good luck on your guys' contest, all right? Peace out.